Hi guys, my name's Trudie and I'm a member of the IQBar team and I'm also one of the vloggers. This week's vlog is all about using the new review format, including statuses, the 4 boxes and about the homework upload. So if you want to get it fresh in your head or you just want a little reminder, then stay tuned. Recently we've had a few new changes, so we've had some new, well-adapted tasters put in place, and we also have a slightly different reformed way of completing the reviews, and it is for the better. Now, with the new review structure, it means you don't have to make sure that you've included all the sections, as all the sections are now separate, and you've got no excuse to miss out any part. It just makes it that little bit easier that you can look, see what you've got to write, fill it in, and not have to think about all the different things to put in one box. So in this vlog, I'm going to take a look at each part. Let's start with looking at statuses. So there are now more statuses to choose from, and with more to choose from, it will be more accurate to record the status of the lesson. Let's take a look at the picture to explain it a bit more. So I think these are pretty self-explanatory, but let's have a quick run through of them. So completed. That means the lesson ran pretty smoothly and you were able to teach for the full 25 to 30 minutes. Missed by Brady. If you entered the class and the Brady didn't turn up for the lesson, then you'd select Missed by Brady. The status, unable to conduct due to Brady technical issues. You'd select this if the Brady has technical issues that mean you are unable to conduct the lesson and make an accurate assessment of their ability. Next is unable to conduct due to buddy technical issues. So you'd select this if the lesson is unable to proceed due to you having technical problems. There's the status ended by Brady. This is when the Brady has ended the lesson. This could be an accident, or it could be that they're not well. There's lots of reasons, but it just means the lesson was ended early by the Brady. Finally, there's the unable to assess due to level of participation. So if you have a Brady who, regardless of how hard you try, just isn't having any of it, you can't make an accurate assessment, and IQBar get that. So now they have this handy new status to use. The layout, the format of the reviews, now has 4 new areas, so let's take a look at them. So the first part is the introduction. This is where you write a brief overview about the lesson. You need to make it personal and can comment on how well the Brady did. You might say something like, it was lovely to meet Pearl today. So it can also be used as a general comment and a new niceties section. Also, here is where you'll need to state a brief overview of what's been covered, especially if it's a new taster. You'll need to include the units that you've covered here. And that's really important, as now we have the opportunity to jump between topics in our new tasters, so tell them what you taught. For example, if I taught Pickaroo Units 1 and 2, I could mention I covered Say Hello, Colours, and that the Brady found the colours easy. So, after assessment, which lasted for a few minutes, I was sure, and so I moved on to toys. It's important that you spend some time and use extension questions and activities to assess the real understanding of the Brady. Don't just jump along if they find the first slide easy. The recommended structure for this section is something like, it was nice to meet, insert name, today we covered the, insert what you covered. Simple. On to the second box. So, the what went well. This is where you should list at least 2 to 3 things that Brady did really well, was successful in, or that they seemed to really enjoy in the lesson. The things you put in this box should be rated some of the following. So the Brady's engagement with the lesson, their enjoyment, their confidence and any independent learning, repetition and how they answered questions. So for example, I might say, so-and-so was really confident in labelling colours and could identify the colours of objects. So-and-so was great at copying the sentences I modelled. He tried hard with this lesson and even used some sentences independently. Notice that you still need to use the bullet form to make this nice and easy to read. Okay, so section 3, areas to develop. Again, like you do in the what went well section, you will need to state at least 2 to 3 areas for the Brady to work on. Just as you did in the what went well section, the topics that you pick must be linked to the Brady's engagement, their enjoyment, confidence, any independent learning, repetition, and their answering of questions. Also, it's really great here if you can try to be as specific as possible. The more specific you are, the better. This will mean the Brady knows exactly what to practice, as will the next teacher. So for example, rather than a general sweeping statement of practice pronunciation, why not be specific and say something along the lines of practice his pronunciation, particularly of the following words, teddy bear and ball. He would benefit from using these in sentences, such as the teddy bear is brown. I often pick out words or sentences that they've learnt in the lesson as something that they could practice. Again, these should be in bullet form, which just makes it so much easier to read. Also, they must be achievable targets, so try to make them small and achievable. Saying pronunciation is a long-term objective, but by stating specific words or sentences, it becomes much more achievable. Then we're on to the final box, conclusion. So one of the reasons that IQ bar stands out against the rest is because it is so personal. This is your last chance to round off the lesson with some praise about how well the Brady did and how you're looking forward to the next time you'll see them. So for example, you may find out in a lesson that the Brady loves their cuddly toy bunny, Snuggles. You might want to say, I look forward to seeing you and Snuggles again soon. Well done today. Remember, it's really important to praise our Bradies. They work hard and the praise is much deserved, and always end on a high. And remember, if you have any other information regarding the learner or the learner's style, then you could include this in the conclusion or put it in the introduction. So I've spoke a lot about what should be included, but let's have a look at a waggle, what a good one looks like. Remember, this is the expectation, but the more detail, the better. So here's our waggle. In the introduction, they've stuck to the structure that's recommended. You know, the statement about how lovely it was to meet the Brady, and then they've told us what they covered. It really doesn't have to be long. You can add more detail if you would like to. We understand that you have a lot to do at IQ Bar, and that's why this has been made, just to make it much clearer and easier and more efficient for everyone in the team. Next, we've got the what went well. As you can see, they've used the bullet points, and they've been really positive. They said all the good things they could do. I like this comment that they persevered when the words were even difficult. This is also really handy for the next teacher. That will help them in their planning and in adapting to the needs of this Brady. So, areas for development. They've got 2 bullet points, which is fine. 2 to 3 areas is what is required. And here they're really specific. They say she needs to practice the sound. The more specific you are, the better. Again, this is an achievable target that could be achieved over a small amount of time. And, as I mentioned with the what went well, it's going to help the next teacher in their planning and adapting to the needs of the Brady. They could even use this as their starter or icebreaker at the beginning of their next lesson. Simple. Like I've mentioned, the personal touch that IQ Bar deliver is what's important, and it's leaving notes like this. That means we can achieve that personal touch. Then the conclusion. Just like we said, it's ended on a high and talks about how they're really looking forward to meeting the Brady again. And I really like that they've made it personal. Can't wait to see her fantastic smile again soon. How nice, I'd be chuffed to hear that myself. So, there is now a function to upload your homework to reviews. You no longer have to put them in the More Brady information group, so make use of this function. And let's give Ella a bit of a break. So let's take a look at this function. As I've mentioned, you don't have to state the homework you're setting now in the WeChat group. Instead, you can just upload it whilst you're doing your review. Really simple. Click on Choose Files, and then upload the appropriate homework. Whilst talking about homework, this is a really good time to mention that remember, if you're not completing a Pickaroo lesson, then you should still be setting homework. You won't be setting the homework at the end of the lesson. Instead, set an appropriate task that you think the buddy would enjoy and would benefit from. So I've mentioned about the new tasters we have, and if you want to find out more about the new tasters, then you can watch the seminar, which the link is below. As always guys, I really hope this has helped. If you'd like any more information, help or support, please contact a member of the team, and don't forget you've got your team leaders or your team group chats where you could ask. Thanks guys, happy teaching!